everybody, to the One to Go show presented by Dirt Track Supply from the beautiful Blue Line Brews studio. It is Bert Lehman with his Packers gear. It is Ryan Aho smiling at the Packers gear. It is Fuka. And it is just 10-ish days, we'll call it, because never know when you're going to see or hear this, but just 10-ish days away from the 35th annual USA Nationals. Cannot be more excited. How are we doing, fellas? Episode 138.
Doing absolutely fantastic. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. Maybe, right? We can knock on wood. Maybe I can meet you guys down at the USA Nationals. To be determined yet. Bert, how are you doing?
I am doing good. I am looking forward to the USA Nationals very much this year. Last year was not a good Nationals for me because some family things that were going on, but that's taken care of for the most part. So I am looking forward to just enjoying several days of racing at the USA Nationals.
All right. As we said, we are partnered on the show, as always, our major sponsor for the year, Dirt Track Supply. Ryan, home of the Aero chassis. Any big wins this weekend or this week?
Jeremy Castro, red hot. I mean, he kind of had a little bit of a lull there for a little bit, but a pair of wins this last weekend at Belgrade and Sheridan. I think that puts him in double digits. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Trevor in just a minute because he had a hell of a weekend too. But racers, I mean, it's getting to that time of year. You probably need some parts, need some tires, need some repairs, need safety equipment, whatever it is. Get a hold of Ron, get a hold of Trevor at Dirt Track Supply in Watertown. They'll take good care of you. They always do.
Awesome. I watched Trevor's race. What was that? Tuesday night. Yeah, the big win down there to Houston. But yeah, we'll touch on that in just a second. So we'll get right into our top 10 stories of the week, right? Brought to you by Brad Parsons Soil Ag and Solutions.
Yeah, you know, Brad, he helps farmers for racers, by racers. But here's the deal. He's got the tools that farmers need right now. 728-4 foliar fertilizer with chelated manganese, zinc, copper, and iron. And he said this will boost both your crop health and crop yield, and you can throw it in your current spray package. So get a hold of Brad. I mean, it was a rough spring. Hopefully everybody's got their crops in. I know some people lost crops. He has stuff that can help you with that, help you be more profitable so you can spend more money on race cars. So let's get to our top 10, right? We had a pretty darn exciting week here. I want to start, I think we got to go with a tradition. Top 10, you always got to have first-time winners, right? That is super cool to have some first-time winners up in Thunder Bay, right? Remember, Cole Chernosky was undefeated in super stock action up there, but he came down south of the border for the XR Northern Storm with the Midwest Mod. That left the door wide open. The 08 of Norm Stahl getting it done. He won the feature up in Thunder Bay on Wednesday in the super stocks, and then a double 08. So we got an 08 and a double 08. How about that? Brandon Woodhead, he won the Midwest Mod feature at the Black Hills Speedway out in Rapid City, South Dakota. Congratulations to him. How about this? I know you guys will like this one. Late model guy, a first-time late model winner. Eric Edwards won the late model feature at the Brown County Speedway out in Aberdeen. Looks like he's won in modifieds, Midwest modifieds, and so on. But according to my Race Pass stats, this is his first win in a Wissota late model. The 814 KL Tinker street stock win out at the Electric City Speedway. Fuka, you've been out to the Electric City Speedway, haven't you, out in Great Falls?
Great Falls, yeah. You bet. It's on the hillside, over a hillside, overlooks the city. So you see the city lights, Missouri River's down there. It was kind of in rough shape, but that was, it's been almost 20 years since I've been there, 15, 20-ish years. But it was a real cool setting. Kyle Peterlin, a Challenge Series winner out there back when the Rumble Tour was going on.
That's right. And I remember I used to travel with them guys in the supers, and Larry was scared to death. He hated driving the mountains and all that stuff with the hauler. But Larry getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in Hibbing. So a little shout out there to the Peterlins. And then the R2 of Jason Richardson. You remember Jay Richardson, right? He ran a modified. He's been up in Hibbing, friends with Don Hankey. And he's part owner of SSR Race Cars. Well, I believe This is Jason Richardson's career first feature win. I don't know if he's won in anything before. I couldn't find anything on my race pass, but I tell you what, it didn't come easy. It was at the Red Cedar Speedway this past Friday, and Adam Hensel threw a haymaker slider on him on the last corner to take the lead, crossed him over beautifully in that SSR, and put it in victory lane for his first time. So that is number 10. Number 9. Let's head over to the Halverline Speedway. I'm in kind of the Halverline studio right now in my truck, right? But let's head to the Halverline Speedway. Midwest mod action. This guy's been in the top 10 before. Cody Carlson. I tell you what, guys, I don't know what happened in the heat. I think he had a little melee there, but 18th to 1st in the feature race. Hell of a run. Testament, right, to the racetrack over there. Donnie Lofdahl, of course, got his first win in a modified last week. He prepares the track, and I tell you what, luck has to be on your side, but to go from 18th to 1st, you have to have a good racetrack, a good hot rod, and you got to make the right decisions at the right time. Great job, Cody Carlson. Number 8, let's head down to the I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska. So Chris Smokey Madden won the Go 50 night number 1, kind of a prelim, if you will, to the Silver Dollar Nationals. They had the prelims on Friday night, and all hell broke loose. Mason is going to post the video here for everybody to see. This is you make the call. I want your guys' thoughts on this because he's been red hot, right? Him and Davenport have been so good. He wadded that thing up. He went home. He didn't even stick around for Saturday. When you saw that wreck on that start of the heat, it was I think heat 3 of the second session. What's your take on that? What do you think happened? How did you guys view that?
Go ahead, Puka.
I don't know what to think. I mean, did the guy break? Did the guy turn? I mean, I think Madden wanted to beat him to the, he kind of wanted the whole shot and beat him to the corner, but did the guy break? I mean, I don't really, the video I saw, I just couldn't tell really what happened. Did he lift? Did he break? I don't know. What do you think, Bert?
I got a view, but Bert, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what happened either, because the video I saw, it wasn't really good. I didn't watch it on a big screen. I just saw it on a small screen. So I didn't see exactly what happened, but I was just, very surprised that, Madden was involved in that type of a wreck in a heat race.
And was it one of the Scots?
No, it was some local guy. It was a local guy. I don't remember his name. I should have it in the notes here, but I don't. So Madden started second inside, and this guy started right in front of him on the start of the heat and got a hell of a jump, right? He hit the gas, had a great hole shot coming off of turn 4, and he lifted at the flagman, right? When you put, and nothing against it, everybody's been an amateur at some point, right? But when you take your regular weekly amateur racers and you put them head to head with professional race car drivers, they drive different. That guy did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong, but he lifted like at the flagman. He didn't wiggle, he didn't push, he didn't get sideways. In my view, and everybody, you make the call on what you think, Chris Madden literally did not expect him to lift so early, drove right over the top of him, all hell broke loose, tore up a bunch of equipment, and you could tell, right? Because, I mean, would you guys agree? Madden is a guy that gets really fired up, right? We've seen him just, stop. He walked around the car going, and like he didn't have a reaction. You could tell that he knew that he just misjudged it. And if he would have been mad at that guy, he would have been in his face for sure. That's Chris Madden. That's what he does. I think he took that one on the chin. He realized that he just misjudged it, and all hell broke loose. And Chris Madden, one of the hottest drivers in late model racing, unable to race the Silver Dollar Nationals. Now, let's go on to number 7. JMR. J. McDonald Race Cars on the map again. So get this. Over the past weekend, Shane Sobraski jumped into a JMR a couple weeks ago. He had a pair of wins. Clayton Wagland, 2 wins, a pair of thirds. One of those other ones should have been a win. He gave one away in Ashton. I mean, he literally moved off the bottom. He gave it away, right? QQ Tony Barr in a Midwest mod, a pair of wins. And 89 junior JT Johnson looking pretty sporty. Let me ask you guys this. Jay McDonald, Was Shane Sobraski back behind the wheel? Are they officially back on the map as far as being a chassis builder in the area in Wissota Modifieds?
Oh, for sure. And Sobraski made it look easy in Hibbing on Saturday night. Wagaman made it look easy on Wednesday night Hibbing. I mean, he didn't just win, he dominated, and he disposed of Dan Ebert to do it. And there's an interview up on the One to Go Show Facebook and YouTube. So if you haven't seen that from Wednesday night, go see that with Clayton Wagaman and I. But yeah, no, definitely back on the map. We talked a little bit about that in an interview. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to say it's kind of weird seeing Tony Barr in a B mod after seeing him race modifieds and late models for all those years. But you know, his victory this past week, he got a little emotional in victory lane during the interview, and you know, when you think of Tony Barr, you think of this big burly guy. You don't think of somebody who's going to get emotional. So, you know, it just shows that everybody has emotions. And then I want to touch on something that we always talk about, giving credit to your sponsors. Well, Tony Barr did that. He just took the microphone away from the announcer and walked around his car reading the sponsors.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You didn't miss them, though. You know, like you see all these people, they don't know what to say. If that's what you got to do, I tell you what, it works perfect. He did a great job, and that's just a testament to Tanner Byholm. I didn't really have the liberty of knowing him, but everybody that talks about him said he was just a down-to-earth kid, and you know, that was a great win for Tony Barr. And JMR Chassis, there was a time, guys, where if you didn't have a J McDonald car in modifieds, you weren't winning. Maybe we're getting back to that. I'm telling you what, I'm excited for what the future has for JMR. At number 6, let's go Midwest Modified Racing. Lucas Rodin, your reigning national champion and reigning Rebel Midwest Mod champion, he locked up another Rebel Midwest Mod Tour championship. Guys, he has not had a good year. I mean, he started out, right? He won the 10 grand down at Humboldt, and then he has a few wins in there, mostly on the Rebel Tour, but he's been a lot of DNFs and just bad luck. But maybe this can kind of start to catapult him. He got a big win at Miller to get it done. But I want to talk just a quick second. Okay, Bert, you're a points guy, right? You like a tight points battle. Does that intrigue you? You get down to the last night. If I say there's 3 guys, they have a shot to win this championship, does that get your attention?
Oh, yeah, that definitely gets my attention. I mean, that gets my attention so much that I want to be there when the championship is decided. So yes, I am a points guy in that regard. I always hope that the points championships come down to the final week.
And it did here. There was 3 drivers. It was Lucas Rodin, Cody Lee, and Corey Stork come down to the wire. But there was a problem, right? I'm going to rant here a little bit. I'm going to have a rant. So promoters, if you're listening, Wissota board members, if you're listening, right? I have something for you. First of all, okay, I'm going to start with the points. The Wissota points system right now is so utterly confusing that you need a PhD from Harvard to figure it out, right? The old point system, it was 35, so it was 1 point per spot, 34, 33, 32, and a 1 point bonus for winning the feature. Super simple, right? You look at 10th place, you just do something super easy. The new point system is 100, it separates by 5, then 4, then 3, then 2. Nobody understands it, right? It's super confusing. Get back to simple. If the fans can't follow it in the grandstands, it's too complicated. You lose people. It's no good. Furthermore, okay, this series, great for the drivers, a lot of 1,000-to-win shows. Benji does a great job with this deal. Throwaway shows are absolutely stupid. They're stupid, right? They got like 15 or 18 shows. I think it was 15. They only took 10. Guys, it took at least 30 minutes after the feature for them to even determine who the champion of the series was. How can that even be a thing? They should be pumping that up throughout the whole night. Hey, here's how the current points sit. It's if it's too confusing for them to get, nobody in the grandstands even understands it. A point championship, in my mind, and I'm going to ask you guys this: if you win a championship, whether it's a track, a series, a national title, that takes commitment. That takes sacrifice, right? You shouldn't have to go, well, we're only going to take, 10 of the 15 series races. I mean, Lucas don't do that. World of Outlaws don't do that. Why would you do that? That's just dumb. I mean, I'm absolutely against throwaway shows for a multitude of reasons. What's your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like throwaway shows either. I mean, I could understand, okay, if you want to throw one race out, just in case the driver has another commitment where they get whatever. But if I had my choice, I'd have no throwaway shows. Like you said, you're making a commitment to follow that series or to show up at that track every week. And getting to your point about they didn't know who the champion was until 30 minutes after the race. I mean, what I like about the final week of racing, if it's a close battle, is before the race starts, you know how many positions the one driver has to finish ahead of the other driver for them to win the championship. Because then as you're watching the race, you're counting how many cars are in between them, and it's just more exciting for the fan to watch.
See, I'm a throwaway show guy, not for a track championship, but for a series, simply because in Wizota country, because mainly these are working guys. Now, if you said there were 18 shows and they only counted 10 races, that's almost half. Now that's a little ridiculous. But if you got 18 shows, maybe you do 3 throwaways, so 15, vacation times, things come up, kind of thing. And I don't know how spread out that tour is. Of course, Lucas, World of Outlaws, guys, most of those guys that are following that are pros, so that's kind of their full-time gig, or at least in the summer it's their full-time gig. So I don't have a problem with the tours having some throwout shows. Don't like it at tracks. The track championship, typically weekends, you should be able to be there. But like I said, not half the shows. I mean, that seems a little extreme to me.
And I'm going to flip it one more thing, because I agree. If it's that many shows, I get it. Not everybody can make 18. But if a series has to have that many throwaway shows, maybe there's too many events on the series, right? Maybe bring down the series to 10 races, 12 races, and say, you got to be at all of them. If you want to win the championship, you need to be committed. Otherwise, like Fastlane series, come over and race some of our shows. You might not be in the points, but hey, you can have some fun. You can race for 1,000 to win. You might not be in the championship, but I think as a guy that raced for points, I think championships should be given to people that are committed and to people that are sacrificing to make it happen. That's just my thoughts. Fans, why don't you go ahead and put in the comments, what do you think about throwaway shows? What do you think about the point structure right now? I think too confusing is just no good for anybody. Number 5, Puka, I'm going to let you take this one. Let's go back to the I-80 Speedway Silver Dollar Nationals.
Yeah, so JD got hot right at the end when he needed to. Track down T-Mac, took, like you said, $53,000 in pocket change for JD this year. By far the highest grossing winner, money-wise, of course, with picking up the $1 million at Eldora. But I think he would still be, wouldn't he? Let's say that was a normal $100,000 dream race. I mean, he would still be way out front, right? I mean, Madden's.
It'd be close. It'd be close with Madden. I guess I'd have to look at the numbers. I think that Jackson Braun probably posts that on his Facebook page, the winners. If we eliminated that $1 million, I'm not sure. That'd be close between him and Madden, though, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but yeah, it would be close.
Okay. So, well, the $1 million, of course, helps. All right. So then they also announced right before the feature that the Silver Dollar Nationals will continue. And there was an interview with one of the, I think it was Joe Kosiski before the race. So the Silver Dollar Nationals will continue, but they did not tell us where it will continue. So the two of you, Bert, start with you. Any predictions as to where the Silver Dollar Nationals might find a new home?
I mean, I have no idea where they're going to find where it's going to be held next year. So when I say this, it isn't a prediction. This is where I hope it would be. And I'm gonna stay close and say Mississippi Thunder Speedway. I would love to see it held there.
Well, Ryan?
Well, I got 2 thoughts, right? One of them is Huset's. They bought some land. They're kind of expanding. They're talking about doing some bigger shows. So I'm kind of leaning towards Huset's. The other one's Grand Rapids, but I think all the locals would be too much of pussies to race there. So No, in all seriousness, if I were a betting man right now, I'd throw the money down on Houston is where I would. What do you think?
Well, if I was a betting man, all I would say is I don't think it will be west of Iowa. West of, or basically west of I-29. You have I-29 coming down, North Dakota, South Dakota coming down, Houston. I just don't see it going kind of west of, I was going to say the Mississippi River, but the Mississippi really moves east for a while, but I just see it staying Iowa or east, kind of Missouri or east, something like that. But we'll see. Like I said, I have no idea either.
I was hoping they were going to announce it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let's jump on to number 4. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the XR Northern Storm Series that happened this last week, but I got to give mad props to the track prep crew over at the Gondikla Speedway. By far the best event. They had the most cars, 51 late models. Great event by Troy and Jonathan Powers, the Twin Ports Twin 25s, 51 late models in attendance. I think that might have been a record number of late models.
Tied the record.
Yes. So that was great. So they had more cars. It went a little late. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the track never locked down, right? That much racing, that hot, that many cars, the track never locked down. As a fan, I'm like, man, I want that cowboy up. I want a little bit of character. I want some tacky. It was black top to bottom, but it was racy, multiple grooves throughout. And I just got to ask you this. Even though he did not win, was Jeffrey Massengill the class of the field in the late models?
You see it, Bert, or I'll go?
Go ahead.
Okay. I didn't watch him I wasn't there. I didn't watch him that closely specifically, but I know he, I had a little conversation with his brother online. He did pass a lot of cars. Now, did you give it an unfair advantage last week when you said over under top 5 for Jeffrey Massengill? And then you had us predict that you said, okay, Jeffrey back in the kryptonite, and then we moved on. So he's back in the kryptonite, right? Correct? And he looked good. So yeah, he did pass cars. He was really fast at the end of the second feature. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure what car he was in. Brett can maybe post. I think it was the kryptonite, but 13th to 3rd in the first one, and he tracked down Mars and Door. And then in the second one, he started a row ahead of them and flat out drove away from them, chased down Darrell Nelson. It was 25 laps, but here's the deal. If it would have been 26, Darrell Nelson, as much as I like him, was not winning that race. Jeffrey Massengill, who's had a pretty forgettable season, he's had a lot of problems. It sounds like a lot of mechanical issues. He looked really good. And again, I just want to give mad props to the track prep crew over there. Hell of a racetrack, great racing over in Superior, Wisconsin. Number 3, Bert.
Big money, baby.
My lock of the week last week, Benji Lacrosse won King of the Creek at 141 Speedway. That's the $10,000 to win IMCA stock car show. So you add that $10,000 to the at least $5,000 that he won at the Berg in Luxembourg, Wisconsin, 5 nights before that. So that's $15,000 that he made in 1 week racing an IMCA stock car. And then he won the modified feature at the Berg that same Sunday night. And I think that was at least $3,000 to win. So it might have been more than that. But so he took winnings of at least $18,000 over that 1 week span. And but I was a little worried about my lock of the week because he did not to qualify for the feature. You have to finish in the top 10 in passing points, and he did not finish in the top 10 in passing points the first night. So he started on the front row of one of the B mains, and he wound up winning that. And then he started 15th in the feature. And when they interviewed him in Victory Lane, they asked him what his plan was. And he said, I was just going for any opening that there was. And then he said that the top opened up, and he was really making a lot of ground on the top side. Props to 141 Speedway. They had a little bit of a cushion, so you could run the top, you could run the bottom. And there's a couple of cautions, but him and Mike Mullen put on a side-by-side battle for many, many laps late in the race. And Mike Mullen made the comment after the race that, or no, he posted this on his Facebook page that he finished second again to Benji, because Benji had a last lap pass of Mullen last year in this same race. And Mullen posted on his Facebook page that he's looking forward to the time when Benji retires. So having a little bit of fun
he's a hell of a driver,
in
man.
a very disappointing, but another thing to note, and Ryan will enjoy this, but we've talked about drivers racing in different divisions, modified drivers dropping down the stock cars. I think it was a final finishing order also, but for sure it was at one point in the race, the top 6 drivers had raced modifieds at one point in their careers.
Just saying.
Ooh,
Saying.
toxic out there.
Nice. Yeah, great stuff. That's a guy we don't get to watch in Wissota country. So if you get a chance, they have some races on Flow once in a while. Benji Lacrosse, a guy to keep an eye on, hell of a race car driver in Eastern Wisconsin. Number 2, Puka.
Boy, Trevor Anderson on a roll. Now, I only saw the one. Like I said, I saw the win at Huset's. Like I said, what was that? That was Tuesday night, flag to flag. A very, he's an emotional guy. That guy, he brings it. So victory lane, very emotional. Jumping on the car. Great interview. Like I said, the passion came through, the emotion came through. Where was win number 2?
Rock Rapids. So night number 1, he did not lead flag to flag. He led all but about 100 feet because Morgan Ward came from the 4th row and threw a haymaker slider. He did a nice move to cross her back over and take the win. So he led almost all of it over there in Houston. But in Rock Rapids, about halfway through the race, I mean, it looked like he was going to be done. He got caught up in a wreck and got the side kind of tore off, and there was a car up on top of his, and luckily nothing happened to it, but a pair of wins doubling up Trevor Anderson, extending that repairable vehicles tri-state late model point lead. So tip of the cap, great job to Trevor. Now, number 1, this guy has been on fire, right? Last week I kind of mentioned, hey, you can call him a cherry picker all you want or whatever. If he was following the Advantage RV Mod Tour, I'm a Johnny Broking fan. I like Johnny, right? TPO is 5-4-5 in the races he's attended, and he swept the weekend. That might have been the first time somebody won 4 Advantage RV Mod Tour races in one weekend, but let me tell you, he did it in dramatic fashion. So I'm going to start by saying this. Okay, I talked to him. He did not feel real good about his first win. Okay, so fans, you make the call. I'll post the video here. Sorry, TPO. I got to put it out here. He threw a slider on for second, and I don't think he saw the lapper. Jerome Guyot was up there, and he comes sliding across and blew him right off the racetrack. Yellow comes out. They called it on the lap car. I'm like, oh my, right? And he's like, that was totally me. He felt bad. He's like, I don't feel good about that one. He blew up going across the finish. But here's the deal. He was supposed to start second in Ada, and Ruben offered him an extra $500 to start 9th if he could win. And he took the challenge, started 9th on a tour race, not racing for points, right? And drove to the front, got it done. The next night, they head to the River City Speedway in Grand Forks, North Dakota. He's supposed to start 9th because he redrew terrible. I think that was a redraw spot. But they opted, he said, I think it was an extra $1,100 to start 16th. And he started 16th, and he won an Advantage RV Mod Tour race at Grand Forks from 16th. Now, he went to Greenbush the next night. I think he started in the front, drove away. He went to Bemidji, and nothing against Bemidji. I love the Chicken Shack, but you're not going to start back in Bemidji and win. It just ain't going to happen. But he went to Bemidji and won 4 for 4. Unbelievable weekend for TPO. He's absolutely on a tear right now. So that is your top 10. It was some exciting stuff. So, Puka, let's start with Bert. What do we got next year? Puka,
Well, let's see. Yeah. So everybody, we went over a lot of stuff. Please, like, Like Ryan said earlier, comment on anything you got there, comment on TPO's wins, but hit the like button too. We'd appreciate that. Smash the subscribe button if you can. All right, so we're going to go to kind of the trackside stuff this week. You guys are at a couple of races, but before we get to that section, we want to thank our friends over at Blue Line Brews, bluelinebrews.com. You know the drill. 10% of the profits go back to injured officers, fallen officers, goes back to their families. If you're online at bluelinebrews.com, go when you're at checkout, it's save 15. That's a promo code to save 15%. Brant over in Western Minnesota, I know you're a new subscriber to our Facebook page. Go to bluelinebrews.com right now and get your coffee on. Look at it. What's this one? Detective Special. So you got 3 different blends. You can check that out on the website. And again, if you can, jump on their social media pages too and follow them. Great coffee with a great cause. So who wants to start here? Bert?
Well, I did not go to any races.
Okay.
Shawano got pretty much everything on Saturday in eastern Wisconsin got rained out because there were severe weather was predicted, and so a lot of tracks canceled early, even before the rain started, because the forecast was awful. I know when Shawano made their announcement that they canceled, they made the comment that they contacted police departments and stuff, emergency crews, to get their opinion on whether they should try to hold it. And so eventually they just canceled, like pretty much every other track on Saturday.
There was a lot of cancellations, including, maybe you guys have heard, I'm not sure, but Cedar Lake's Month of Money, right? $5,000 to win for late models. Did they reschedule that, or is that just canceled? Have you heard?
August 20th, rescheduled.
20th, yeah.
Okay.
Would have been nice if it would have been the 13th of August, because that's the day after the Mater, but I think they're worried a little bit about the USA Nationals hangover. But yeah, August 20th, which would be the week before Ogilvy has their Challenge Series events.
Okay, awesome. And so I went to Sycamore. I got done with my load. I got up to the Twin Cities, and my buddy Dave, he says, "Hey, are you coming to Sycamore?" I'm like, "Well, my load has to go through there, so yeah, I'll get on the road." I got on the road early on Saturday, and Bert, I saw all the storms to the north because I thought we were going to get rained out at Sycamore. Dave's been struggling, right? That's my buddy that I helped down at Sycamore. He won the championship last year, got a new car, barely even ran, ignition switch. Literally, that was the problem. It missed. So he scaled it, went to the track. Hell of a run by Dave. He challenged a leader. There's a guy number 4, Zuby, that's kind of been the class of the field. Dave was all over him, had a shot to win that deal. Great racetrack over at Sycamore, multiple lanes of racing, and I had a fun time over there with all the Dulciacs over there. So great racing over there. Puka, I know you went to Hibbing. We're going to talk about the XR Northern Storm next. Anything eventful happened Saturday night in Hibbing?
No, I think it was kind of the same thing, kind of a hangover after a big night on Wednesday night in Hibbing.
How was the crowd? How was the crowd?
It was down. It was down. That's what I mean. It was down. But here's in their defense. So I was parked in the Twin Cities, ready to go to Cedar Lake for the Month of Money. Found out they canceled. Had to do a little bit had to run to Costco, do a few things, shoot back north. I'm 10 miles in Cherry, Minnesota. I'm 10 miles east of Hibbing at 6 o'clock. It is downpouring. So that Virginia Quad Cities area, I think it was raining there, and the people might have said, well, Hibbing's going to rain out. You get 2 miles from town, sun's out, beautiful, not a drop of rain in Hibbing at that time, but just a blurb went through. So it might have been that kind of held up the crowd a little bit too, but crowd was down. I mean, the racing was fine. The program went fine. But after a couple of late nights, a super stock feature, Showtime won that one. And then I got out of there.
Oh, I got a question on that. Sabraski was up there. He's been darn near unbeatable. The 2 top guys in Wissota Super Stocks, the 3 top guys, Shane Sabraski, Dexton Cook, Dylan Nelson, were all there. And Tristan Labarge, the outlaw, held them at bay. Now, I heard there was maybe a little bit of altercation between a couple of them front runners, 78 and a 7. Was there a little bit of something happened with them?
Yeah, I think Shane Guy gave him a little bit of a right rear quarter at one point. I didn't think it was too rough, but Shane, he just couldn't get any. I'm not saying literally momentum, but it seemed like everything he tried, it didn't work. I think he was up to third at one point, and then all of a sudden he was in fifth or sixth. I think he exited four a little bit high, and people shot by him. Yeah, when the checkered flag flew, he did not take a lap to cool down. He raced right off the end of the track. I left after that race. I was on the highway here, and it took him 10 minutes to be loaded up and gone. They were coming by on the highway. He was out of there. So potentially a frustrated Shane Sabraski on Saturday night Hibbing.
Yeah, he did win the mod feature in that JMR, and I want to give one shout out to Hibbing because my dad, there's no streaming, right? They don't stream the weekly stuff up there. But Jeff Tardy, who's been struggling 12th to 4th, almost got third. Sounds like they're getting that thing figured out a little bit. So want to give a little shout out to Jeff Tardy. So what do you say we jump into the big part of the week?
Yeah. Why don't we talk about, I guess, kind of the story of the week for everybody is the XR series that headed up here, brought to you, Ryan, by buyraceshirts.com. And I did talk to Jordan a little bit. He made the trek. Yeah,
Jordan and his brother John made the trek up there. So huge thanks, racers. If you need apparel, it's getting that time of the year. Your go-to, of course, is Jordan Tollickson, buyraceshirts.com, Outlaw Graphics. He has a lot of different ways that you can purchase from him. Get a hold of him. He'll take good care of you. But the XR Northern Storm came to town. Supposed to be, we'll get into that in a second, 5 events. There was 4. Okay. So Monday night, they were over at the Ogilvie Raceway, Ogilvie, Minnesota. I got to tell you, pretty darn good late model counts all the way through. So I want to give a tip of the cap there to Ron Lindquist. He's been reaching out to late model drivers. He promoted the hell out of it to try to build that challenge series up. 42 late models there, night number 1. And I got to be honest, Ogilvie. Okay, Ogilvie. The flagman flat out ruined the late model feature. Ruined it. Did you guys watch it?
Watched. Yeah, that was after the show, right? It was, the show was over when we recorded. So I watched a little bit of the reboots, kind of locked out. And
well, here's the deal. Flagman wrecked the race. So I don't know if you saw the beginning, Jimmy Mars, Cole Searing, literally side by side for the lead. Did you see that? And then he threw the green flag. What the hell's he doing? Then it was over. Jimmy Mars by a straightaway. So I'm just kidding. I know the flagman watches this. He's probably having a heart attack right now. He did not ruin the race, right? But Jimmy Mars, he had a great run there. Cole Searing with a second. John Tollickson. Jordan. Your brother's whooping your ass. Jordan. You can't let John keep beating you like this. I'm not sure what to think about this. John's been the quicker 32. I'm just saying, right? Hell of a run for John. He got third. Clayton Wagaman started off his weekend strong. 2 JMRs, 1-2, him and JT Johnson. Brennan Gabe in the Midwest mods. Like you said, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. It just kind of, the late model feature, Mars was just gone. There wasn't even a race to be had because he was so far ahead. Anything else stick out to you from Ogilvie?
Well, I heard that there was some weather moving in too, so they just wanted to get the show in. They didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of track prep. So we know Ogilvie, usually the race is pretty damn good there. So right. Everyone's gonna have an off night.
Correct, and I tell you what, Clayton Wagaman was gone. So there was the modified racing was a little bit better than the late model racing. Multiple nights. I'm just saying. Okay, Tuesday night.
Ryan, do you want to talk about Tuesday night at all?
I do.
And
Can I go get my popcorn?
Get your popcorn. Buckle up.
I can tell you what the weather was like. I live 6 blocks from the track.
You tell us what the weather was. I talked to several people. They said they got a couple sprinkles. It never really rained. They should have got the races in. Is that would you agree?
Correct. Oh, yeah. It was sun. Yeah.
So I'm just going to give a donkey award to whichever late model drivers, okay? Because Rod Lindquist, executive director of WISSOTA, runs the challenge series, called me up the next day. He says, "Did you hear about what happened?" I said, "I did." And there was some very hurt feelings. Okay. The Grand Rapids Speedway was not happy with Wasota XR, whoever made the decision. I believe it was Wasota. But this is an example, guys, of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Okay? Because that race would not have been canceled if not for a handful of late model drivers that are pansies. Okay? Maybe we need to get Morgan Ward to come to race up here because she's got bigger balls than all y'all. Okay? It just is what it is. It was cowboy up at Huset's, right? There was character on the track and she was throttled up. She didn't give a shit. She went for it. And you got a few drivers in Hibbing, one that probably should retire, just saying, okay? Past his prime, love the guy, but he's a whiner, okay? So, there, last week on Thursday, the track, I'll be honest, beginning of the year, it was terrible, horrible rough, couldn't even race on it, just unraceable. The old track prep guy comes back, and Rome wasn't built in a day. You got to kind of work through it. I went to the races last Thursday. There wasn't even a bump in 3 and 4. It was multiple in 1 and 2, a little choppy on the bottom, not horrible. Character, some holes, definitely. Through the middle was good, a cushion on the top. Track wasn't bad, multiple lanes of racing. Literally, they got to the track, right? It was like early afternoon, and they're like, oh my God, it's muddy, it's gonna be rough. We ain't gonna race. We're not gonna race. This is a handful of late model, right? We ain't gonna race. It's too rough. We don't want to race on this. What the hell is wrong with these people? Nothing against Hibbing, nothing against Ogilvy, nothing against Ashland. Usually they have really good racetracks. The late model features at those 3 tracks absolutely were horse shit. Okay. It was like driving one lane in road construction, nobody passing anybody. It is what it is. Them tracks are not always like that, but they were there. So these late model drivers that were a bunch of pansies that didn't want to race, right? Well, there you go. Are you happy? You got a bone dry 1-lane piece of crap racetrack, and you could have had a track with maybe a little bit of character, right? But you're afraid to like go fast. I don't know. Maybe get a Hornet. I'm not sure what to tell you. Okay, guys, this weekend is literally one of my favorite events of the entire year. The Prairie Dirt Classic at Fairbury. These particular drivers that threw a fit to Wasota, they threw a fit to XR. We ain't racing on this. It's going to be rough. Oh, we're scared to bend up our equipment. They wouldn't even unload their cars at Fairbury. They wouldn't even unload. They'd watch the race. Oh my God, that's exciting. That was great. That was unbelievable. They would not unload their cars because they're scared. It just is. It's unbelievable. In my lifetime, I have never seen anything where we're just not going to race because a few drivers think it's going to be rough. That happened at Gondiclaw Speedway during the border battle. They had a bunch of rain, beginning of the season. A few drivers went over there. Oh, it's going to be terrible. We're staying home. Well, we better cancel night 1 because a few guys said it's going to be rough. What the hell, right? I mean, this is the entertainment business. 0 people are entertained by freight train, choo-choo train racing. Nobody wants to watch that. In my opinion, as a fan, a track with let's not get out of hand. I'm not talking huge holes, tearing up equipment, mud hole. We don't want that. Nobody wants it, right? A little character on a racetrack provides way more entertainment to the people that are watching. Think back to some races that we've watched, right? The Wild West shootout from 2 years ago, not this past year, but the year before, down at Central or Arizona, right? Remember, there was like 2 or 3 nights where it was absolute. No, I'm not talking about the year before. Yeah. So there was like 2 or 3 nights where it was bone dry. Nobody passed anybody. They're like, the racing kind of sucked, right? And then there was a couple nights the track had some character. It was kind of choppy, haymaker sliders. Facebook blew up. Oh, that was the best race I've seen. That's race of the year candidate right there. Huset's, right? Huset's, rough, cowboy up, cushion, character. I saw people raving about that race. Oh man, that was an exciting race. And it was a good race on Tuesday. But you know what? Them are the same people. Oh, I ain't going to race on that. It's too rough. It's too bumpy. Unbelievable. I'm just extremely disappointed that Wasota canceled that, but they got the pressure from a handful of drivers. And again, that's squeaky wheel getting the grease.
And the promoters in Grand Rapids are not too happy about it because they took a lot of heat, not knowing that it was more of a challenge series decision.
Correct. Yeah, and it was a combination of the challenge series director and XR. XR rented the track. They got together. They talked to a few drivers. A few drivers said we don't want to race. And you know, I'm not going to put it on anybody, but that's just, you're never racers. Let's just be honest. I was one, right? Okay, let's just be honest. They're pissed if it's too dry. They're pissed if it's too sticky. They're pissed if it's marbly. They're pissed if there's too much water. They're pissed if there's not enough water, right? They're pissed if they race too early or if they race too late. You're never going to make them happy. So just have the freaking race. If they don't want to race, they can load up, go home. Who gives a shit? There was 40 some late models. If 5 of them wanted to go home, there was still more than enough to have a quality show. You can't just appease everybody. Just race the race and let it be what it'll be. So off my soapbox. Let's get to Wednesday. Puka, you were over at the Hibbing Raceway.
Yes. So I get, I mean, I'm not going to go as far as the word rant, but so show up in the pits and there's good energy. We've got, you know, Kennedy Swan's back, Hot Carl's in the pits. We've got Bryce Ward, first trip. The Tollefson brothers, like I said, first trip ever to the track. I think Edgington, first ever trip to the track. Searing. So there's a lot of guys in the pits. You know, the energy is really good. Get up in the grandstands, and the racing hardcores are here because you can tell by the t-shirts, you know, and you can tell by the campers. Like the people that know racing are kind of following the circuit. Atmosphere is good, racing's good, but by the end of the night, it was kind of a bad show. It was 3 classes starting at 7, 5 hours, hour intermission, redoing the track. They have to end up remisting. It just got too late. And Bert, I know. We'll come back to me, but I know you had some comments on because remember, it's a Wednesday night, folks. So I know you had some comments on too late and weeknight racing.
Yeah, I mean, Wednesday night, you know, I was watching the King of the Creek heat races most of the night, but I was kind of going back and forth. And I tuned in to Hibbing during the late model heat races. And while I sent you guys a text, I said, when did Hibbing pave their track? Because that's what it looked like. I mean, that's how dry slick it was already that early in the evening. But yeah, I mean, as far as 3 divisions, and it was after 11. Well, actually, I went to bed in the middle of the feature because the late model feature, because there's a bunch of cautions in a row, so I just went to bed. But, you know, having a race that gets over at 11:30 or whatever on what I like to call a school night, you know, a work night, it's just when you only have 3 divisions, I don't understand. I understand they did rework the track for the feature. So, I mean, that does take time. But, I mean, just to give you an example, 141 Speedway, Wednesday night, they had 3 divisions of cars. So they ran a complete show of Grand Nationals, a complete show of modifieds, and then they had 12 qualifying heat races for the stock cars, and they were done by 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I think they started at 6. So I mean, you're looking at like 3.5 hours. But you know, they didn't rework the track at all. I mean, they just raced through it. The next night, they ran 3 divisions again, 2 complete shows for the other 2 divisions. They had 5 B mains plus a 50-lap feature for the stock cars, and they were done by 9:30. You know, they didn't rework the track. I just, especially in weeknights, you know, don't keep your fans there till 11.
We're there till midnight. You know, I got home
midnight.
I don't live far from the track. I was home at 1:15. I did do some interviews, but I had a lunch 4 hours away Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. So I was hoping to get to bed a little bit earlier than 1:15. Ryan, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, that was kind of the whole trend of this whole series, right? Is late nights. Ashland went late. Hibbing went late. Superior was really late, right? So, I mean, nothing against B mods. I think they were probably the best race in hitting. Tyler Kittner won from, I believe, 12.
Yeah, I was way back there.
So the track was good for the B. It was passing to had, and Clayton Wagaman won from 7.
Yeah.
Right. The late models got strung out. It's hard to prep a track for a late model on these small tracks. They all get trained up. I don't understand why. Maybe it's the tires. I've talked to drivers. Maybe it's the tires. The mod racing was good, but maybe next year, maybe it'd be better to just eliminate one of the classes and just have 2, right? Nothing against Midwest mods. They put on a good show at a few of these races were pretty good, but on a weekday deal like that, 5 nights, I mean, you can't go till 11, 12 o'clock on a weekday. You just can't do that, you know?
And I just want to point out one thing, and I hope the tracks don't take this as we're talking negative about things. I mean, take it as constructive criticism and, you know, try to improve it for next year.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, the racing was good. Like I said, the atmosphere was good, but when you kind of look back, it was like, but the program was bad. If you take the, you know, like I said, then, I mean, there was one late model heat race. Those guys could not, it was the Edgington, Bravo, Lillo, I think the Tollicksons. That heat race took forever, caution after caution after caution. But then all of a sudden in the features, the mods, and then even the lates, the cautions really started showing up, and you know, and I don't know where they came from. Like I said, I mean, they rattled off a lot of heat races in the sun. It was pretty good, and I don't think they really need to redo the track. Missed the heck out of the top, give it a heavy mist, and the sun was going down. Let it sit. They ended up misting for the mods and misting for the lates anyway after an hour delay grading the track. So I don't know really where what they did by grading the track was give you one really great Midwest mod feature. By then it was already drying out again, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it is what it is. And Budislavich got it done in the late models, but one of those cautions in the late models, I just have to talk about this, right? My buddy Dave. Okay. Now, for those of you that didn't watch, okay, Dave Moss.
No, this was the parade. This was the.
Yeah, that was a parade lap.
This is the original start.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay. So he's a great racer. He's won in everything. Late models, modifieds, Midwest mods, obviously super stocks, right? Street stocks, multi-time national championship. His tire fell off on the parade lap. Okay.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to ask you something. First of all, I'm just going to say this. In all of my years of racing, I never had a tire fall off. Ever. Right? Ever. That's the second time for him. He had it happen at the 100 in the Parade of Champions when they had all the cars on the track for that. His tire fell off there too.
When they're all stacked up last year?
Yeah, that was the same deal, but it wasn't that incident. That was a different guy caused that deal. I'm going to call him Dopey Dave, the Dopey Deuce. I'm not really sure what to call him. A donkey. We'll give him a donkey award. When you have a tire fall off, that's a donkey award. I mean, come on, right? Now, here's the deal. 10 minutes. He went in the pits, put a tire on, come back out to give him a spot back, right? I was going to lay the smack down until I found out that Rod Lindquist, the series director, at the pit meeting the next night, he took it on the chin. He says, that's my bad. I screwed up. That was the wrong call. Absolutely should not have given him his spot back. I apologize. He owned it. Yeah, I mean, you can't say nothing about that. So now Jake Franke, a second-year guy in a Super Stock Series race at Granite City, his tire was about ready to fall off on the 4-wide salute, and Dexton Cook saw it and said, whoa, stop. He had to go in and change tires. They did put him to the back, but Dave Moss, come on, man. Stop. Like, somebody get that dude a torque wrench, a lug wrench, like put a note on the dash of his car, tighten your lug nuts, something. If you got to remind him challenge to all racers. If you park by Dave Moss the rest of the year, if you're in the vicinity, every time he goes out on the racetrack, I want you to walk over. I want you to pull his window net down and say, are you sure your lug nuts are tight? Okay. Are you sure? Dave, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. So let's move on.
Bert, you're chopping out the bit to say something.
Well, no, I mean, I was just going to say that when I saw that happen, I saw the car sitting there and I saw there was no rear tire. And I sent a text to you guys. I said, somebody, I didn't know who it was at the time. Somebody forgot to tighten the lug nuts on the tire. But when I was in MJ McBride's pit crew, I mean, like I tell a lot of people, you know, I didn't do anything really sophisticated. I just helped out where I could. But one of my jobs was to torque the lug nuts before every race that he raced. So my biggest fear always was that a tire would come off during the race. So yeah, you have to have somebody designated from your crew to tighten the lug nuts.
Ryan, really quick here, I got a pit meeting question because we got to move on here. I know we're starting to fall behind here a little bit, but okay. At the pit meeting, Matt, like I said, I'm in the pits. I'm at the pit meeting. Hibbing, you go off the track off of turn 1. The scale is not far from there, but it's behind all the barricades and everything. They clearly state a female, I don't know who she is, but at the pit meeting, if you're going to change a tire, you change it over by the scale, you come back on the track up onto corner 1. You do not go, because Hibbing, the whole back stretch is pits. So it's, you know, it's almost like it'd be a nice setup for a big race where you could change tires, because you go off of 1 and you actually literally come back on the track on 4. Jimmy Mars gets a flat in the heat after that first altercation. He does change the tire at the pit, at the scale, but then goes through the pits. Edgington does the same thing. Moss goes right to his pits, comes out the right way. G.O.A.T ends up going and doesn't change it right area. So my question to you is, how often are pit meeting items like that just kind of blown over?
A lot.
Okay.
And it's a cluster in Hibbing because you can't really pull back on, and it's just a weird banking, so you almost gotta go around.
Yeah.
For a race like that, I mean, they don't really have a good designated tire change area in Hibbing. They just really don't.
Okay.
So
that was just something I observed because I was at my first pit meeting in like 15 years. So I was listening. I was dialed in.
I usually skip those. I'm just saying. I had to skip them because your hero, Tom Nesbitt, always caused trouble. And then I followed in his footstep and I did the same thing. So I figured I'd keep my ass out of trouble if I just stayed away from the pit meeting. I just tried to do that. So Thursday, ABC Raceway, Ashland, Wisconsin, the 444 Memorial for Tanner Byholm. Great tribute. The second annual event for that. 36 late models, 42 mods, and Midwest mods. The Hermantown Hammer, Darrell Nelson parking it in Victory Lane. Danny Vang, back-to-back second place finishes, leading the points in the series after that event. Didn't make the feature at the Twin 25s. We'll get to that in a second. Modifieds, okay? Dale Ames got it on QQ Tony Bar in the Midwest mods, but in the modifieds, Dale Ames, all the way from here on South Dakota, who's had a hell of a good year, right? He made the trip over, and Sobraski got second, Wagaman got third, JT Johnson got fourth. So three JMRs in the top 4. Clayton Wagaman gave that one away. It was on the bottom. He made the top work for the better part of that. Ames got by him, right? Yellow comes out. He still didn't go down to protect, gave it away. And honestly, Dale Ames, if you're watching, the only reason you won that race is a representative of the One to Go show went over, visited with you before the feature. That was late model expert Jeff. So Jeff probably gave him the good luck that he needed to get that win. But tip of the cap, Dale Ames. What's your thoughts on Ashland?
I didn't see any of Ashland, but I'm happy. Well, I saw a little bit of the lates, but I'm happy that Dale Ames pulled that off because he took a hard smack in the heat in Hibbing and was towed off. So, you know, a guy that travels that far, kind of nice to see ended up with a win.
Absolutely. Bert?
I was just going to say, I mean, I didn't see the heat races, but I saw the Midwest mod feature, and that was pretty good. But I mean, as we said, the track locked down for the late models. So it was choo-choo train.
It locked down early. Friday, the Twin Ports Twin 25s, probably, in my opinion, I don't know what you guys think, the best event. Long.
I heard.
I mean, they couldn't get a show in on a timely fashion with 3 classes. Let's go ahead and add another one, B late models, right? Nothing against the limited late models, the USRA late models. They did not need a 4th class at that event, right? Regardless, I don't care if it's super stock, street stocks, or USRA lates. They did not need 4 classes. They did not need that. That made it go too long. Quite honestly, though, I will say this. I don't think there was many cautions in the USRA late model, so they didn't really add a whole lot of time to the event, but they did put some laps on the track, which held up good. Wyatt Boyum, who's been strong, right? He's been strong up from International Falls, got it done in the Midwest mods. Shane Sobraski in the modifieds. Little shout out here to Ryan Gerke, Mullet Nation. He got rid of the Mullins chassis, went back to his SSR, and now he's been constantly up on the podium. So that chassis change, good for him. Late models, the Iceman Jimmy Mars and Darrell Nelson won. Jeffrey Massingle though, 13th to 3rd, 12th to 2nd, probably the fastest car. What's your thoughts over there? We talked a little bit about it already from Superior.
Well, Darrell Nelson ended up being the late model point champ, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Interesting though, right? Because Danny Vang, he was leading the points. There must not have been an XR provisional, right? So there must have.
No, it was just challenge series. Yeah, it's all challenge.
Yeah,
series rules.
Darrell Nelson, he broke in the heat race. He broke in the heat. He didn't make the feature. He got like 9th in the B. He didn't make the show. He got the provisional. Right?
Damn good thing you went to Aberdeen.
It is a very good thing he went to Aberdeen because he got the provisional and he kind of worked his way up to 14th in the feature. Okay. Well, they drew. Jimmy Mars won the first one. He draws the number. It's 14. Darrell Nelson on the pole. Now you look at it. He won from the pole, one lane. Well, Massingo came from 12th to 2nd, so it wasn't one lane. It was Darrell Nelson had a good run there, but man, that's just like Christmas come early right there. I mean, he got a huge gift. How about Kevin Burdick, right? In the first feature, he started next to Mars, got a great start, looked like he was poised to maybe contend for the win. Rookie mistake, spun out leading, ended up tearing up some equipment, found he has a hurt motor. I don't know, he's going to be out for a little while, but Burdick was pretty sporty. It looked like he had a shot to win, but he's just having them rookie blues right now in the late model division.
Well, in Mars, he did not make the feature in Hibbing, and so people were wondering if he was going to get the provisional. I said, I don't think so because it's challenge series rules, but I'll tell you what, he was hauling ass in the B feature trying to catch Derek Vessel, so it was interesting to see when there was no one around him, how hard in a Wazota car in a B feature, he could drive that car. And, with another maybe 5 laps, he would have had him obviously run out of time. But me and a buddy that were in my booth were looking like, look how, I don't know if I've seen Jimmy Mars drive that hard in years.
Somebody can verify this, right? But I was told that he got a provisional because you notice they didn't start, there wasn't an outside row in that last row. I was told he got the provisional, declined, went and left.
Oh, okay. I know they did leave early. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's true or not. The series champions, Clayton Wagaman, hell of a week, a pair of wins, a pair of thirds, great weekend for Clayton Wagaman. Darrell Nelson, Christmas come early for the Hammer. And then Cole Chernosky, we've talked about him quite a bit, making the trek down from Thunder Bay, going home, the XR Northern Storm Midwest Mod champion. Congratulations to him.
Bert, any final comments on the XR?
No. I mean, other than I like the concept of it, and I heard that they're doing it again next year, so hopefully they can improve on things and make it a better deal.
Yeah, on the schedule for next year. Ryan, any other comments?
No, that's it.
All right, we'd like to hear from all of you. Please comment on kind of what you thought of the XR Storm. Like I said, rescheduled for next year. Do you like the idea of maybe just doing two classes? Throw your comments up here with us. All right, it's time for a blast from the past, brought to you by Impact Health Sharing.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is a time of year, right? Small businesses are starting to look at healthcare because open enrollment coming up here in a couple months. I've been able to save people a lot of money. Give me a text, give me a call. I can get you a no obligation quote. Just kind of an idea. The average cost for a family is about $600 per month with a $2,500 deductible. If that's cheaper than what you're paying right now, hit me up and I'll see if I can get you some information.
All right, awesome. Episode 138. Any of you three with a 138?
I don't have a 138, but I have some 38s, but either of you have a 38.
I have one driver that was number 38.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh,
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Dave Peterson, he raced Shawano Speedway in the hobby stock class back in the mid to late 1990s, and never won a track championship. But I remember one season he got really hot, middle of the year, won like 4 or 5 straight features, and he was really tough that summer.
I might have two. Brent Larson, when he was in a super stock ride, was he 38? 30? Huh?
8.
Just 8. Oh, just
Yep.
8. Okay. Okay. That was one that just flashed in my mind as we started talking. But I've got a former racer, a blast from the past, Rick Canada. He was probably on your list too from Hibbing. Modified
Rocky
Ace.
Balboa.
That's right, Rocky.
Rocky Balboa. I tell you what, he was fun. He always had really sharp looking cars, really bright, up on the chip, right? He's a high energy guy. Raced against him at the Hibbing Raceway. I didn't get to visit with him, but I saw him in Hibbing. Now he's doing a little promoting. He's brought in a comedian to Hibbing, right? He's he really loves music. He's a 38 special fan, though, so he got 38. I remember he went down to Florida the year after I did, and he's a small track guy, right? He's a Hibbing guy. Ran well in Hibbing. He had some wins over there. And I never forget, he's like, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of scared to go that fast in Volusia, and he wasn't quite used to that speed, but Rick Canada, a guy that he was served on the board at the Hibbing Raceway, heavily involved with the track, and he still attends races. We'll have to see if maybe we can get him back behind the wheel again. I do have 2 late model guys. Okay. First one, number 38 from Canby. Incidentally, Canby, Minnesota had a race. It was on Dirt Race Central this past week. Their first race in a long time. So they had a special for the fair. Really good turnout. Jump on a Dirt Race Central to watch that. But number 38, he had a Fager's car. Remember Jerry Prydel?
No.
Yeah, he ran over kind of in that western Minnesota. But here's the kicker. In 1994 and 1995, he partnered up and teamed up with arguably one of the best late model drivers to ever come from the state of Minnesota. Can you guess that driver's name?
Absolutely. It's got to be Willie Kraft if he's from that area.
Yeah, Willie Kraft. So he partnered up with Willie. Willie, of course, number 83, but he ran 38 in Prydel's car. I don't know if he won anything in that car or not. Probably he won a lot of races. But Willie Kraft, Jerry Prydel, Rick Canada, that's the 3 that I have. Let's move on to the next segment.
All right. Who's hot? Who's not? Bert, we're going to give you the floor on this one. Start with
for who's hot, I have to go with Benji Lacrosse. I mean, with winning at least $18,000 over a 5-6 day span, can't do much better than that on a local level.
Yeah. Ryan.
So I got a couple. Of course, I'm going to start with TPO Tyler Peterson. 4 for 4 this week in Advantage RV Mod Tour action. Dramatic fashion. One of them from 16th. He's won 4 of his last 5. He's raced 5 RV shows, right? Advantage RV Mod Tour shows. He won all 5. 15 wins on the year. He's red hot. Brandon Rehill in a Midwest Mod north of the border. 7 of his last 8. Shane Sabraski, 18 wins in the Superstock. Modifieds, stay tuned. He is now faster in that JMR. Kyle Dykhoff, 15 wins with that Zuli engine in the street stock, leading the way as far as national points goes. And then Dexton Cook, who made his, I think that was his first trip up to the Hibbing Raceway, 11 straight top 2s. 11 straight top 2s, 14 wins, 6 of his last 11. But I had a few drivers reach out to me. Not going to say who. They said that they're getting a little irritated with the 78K. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? All they said is he better buckle up a little tighter over the next few weeks because he's got a couple coming back.
Ooh.
That's from other drivers. That's just a warning shot right there across the bow, Dexton. If you hurt some feelings, you might want to reach out to some drivers and mend fences before it costs you a shot at a title.
Dirt Race Central, get your van placed outside of there. Just follow them to the next race because that's where the excitement is. All right, I got, of course, Massagill. We talked a little bit of him on the list. And, Tyler Kittner is right in my backyard. And sometimes I talk about him a lot, and sometimes I skip over him for weeks because I see it so much. But won again on Saturday night, 10th win of the year. So remaining hot. Any more, Ryan, on the who's hot?
No.
Okay.
Kurt, who's not?
Who's not? I'm gonna go with Ashton Winger. Over the last month or so, I know that team has missed some races because they were running a little bit low on equipment, and well, they ran a little bit lower on equipment last week because he was involved in a violent rollover that wasn't his fault. But and to compound things, he lost his ride on top of it. So I don't know what his future is right now, but he's a fun driver to watch out there. He's aggressive. He's not afraid to put the hammer down. But sometimes that can be hard on equipment.
Well, we got some video footage here, right? Mason's posting this video right now so we can watch it. Do you think that his reaction here in this video to the rollover, because he got dumped, the guy flat out drove him off the track and dumped him, do you think his reaction and the way that he handled himself had anything to do with him no longer having a ride with G.R. Smith?
I think that's probably an accurate statement that did influence the decision on whether he has that ride. I understand him being upset, and I didn't have a problem with him walking on the track. I didn't even have a problem with him walking up to the other car and expressing his opinion. But then he started going after the driver inside the car, and that's when it went a little overboard. And then they pulled him away from the car. And then he went to the other side of the car and climbed on the deck and was trying to reach the driver on that side. As I believe it was his dad was in the driver's window. And so, yeah, that probably had some influence.
Kind of love that shit. I don't know. Luca, who's not?
Well, not a terrible week, but Pat Dorr. I mean, no wins over this. I mean, all tracks he's very familiar with. All tracks he's won at. Starts second row in Hibbing, gets third. Wasn't second for a while. I heard he started. Did he start in the front row? I heard he started on the front row somewhere, but or maybe I think I saw it. But so not a bad week. But Mahomes, Rogers, Brady, first down on the 5-yard line, they're gonna punch it in. And I expected Dorr to punch one of those in. He was kind of a one of my sure bets.
Rogers.
I threw that in there, Bert. And then how about Logan Schuart, like a half-mile specialist? They're on the big tracks this week. Got lapped on Saturday night. He runs well. I don't want to say he does runs. He used to run well on half miles, Eldor. I mean, Knoxville, and so he's won me a lot of points earlier this year on some of these big half-mile tracks, but totally cooled off. I mean, he's not even a top 5 runner lately. So Logan Schuart I have on the not so hot list. Ryan, who you got?
I have the wheel sticker rule. Promoters, listen to me. Get rid of that rule. It's horse shit. Kyle Kopp was at a top 5 run they had 47 super stocks at Granite City for the Fastlane Super Stock Series. He run in the top 5, DQ'd at the scale, no sticker on the wheel. They're all stamped. They're stamped with soda, right? It's not a safety deal. It's a money grab. Wasoda's got to pay for their own freaking stickers. I mean, that's a stupid program. Get rid of that wheel sticker program. If they're stamped, it's legal. Absolutely no reason to have that. Promoters, put it on your list. Get it on the agenda. Get rid of it. It is absolutely asinine to DQ somebody because a stupid sticker is not on a wheel. Kyle Kopp, man, I feel for you.
All right. That'll do it for that section. Let's move on to our sure bets now. And talk even more about who we think is the hottest, because we'll go to the sure bets brought to you by Ryan J. Schmidt.
Jay Schmidt, yeah, real estate by Jay Schmidt, over 20 years in business, for racers, by racers. If you're in the Watertown, South Dakota area, if you need real estate transactions, land, commercial, residential, you name it, our lock of the week, our sure bet, real estate by Jay Schmidt.
Fire away, Bert.
What are we doing here?
Sure bet.
Oh, sure bet. I've gotten quite a few of these right. My sure bet is Bishop is going to shake off the rust and finally get the victory lane and win at Fairbury.
A heat or hot laps or time for what's he going to win?
He's going to win the big money.
That's incorrect because Bobby Pierce is going to win the Prairie Dirt Classic.
Is that who you have, Puka? That's who I got. Me and Puka are going to tag team on this one, right? It is absolutely
the best pick. I'll have to admit that.
There you go, for sure. Dave Dulciek's favorite driver, the smooth operator, Bobby Pierce, is absolutely going to win the Prairie Dirt Classic this year, Bert. So you had me, but then you spelled Bobby Pierce wrong. Well, you spelled it B-Shep. I'm not sure what you're thinking there. That's gonna be a hell of a race. I'm jacked up for that one. What do we got next?
All right, we're gonna head down over to the last lap. Zulli's Race Engines. They've been with us for a couple of years now. Ryan has gone over week after week, well, except in December and January, of the winners. Like I said, if you can't beat them, join them. Ryan, were you able to catch up with any names this week where Zulli's
we got a pile of them. We got a pile. We'll go quick. Kyle Dykoff, a pair of wins. Casino Speedway, Steffes Race, and at Greenbush, leading the way in Wissota Street Stocks with the win count. Warren Poirier Jr., Black Hills Speedway in the Street Stock. Blake Whitlock won in the Super Stocks over at Miller. Billy Christ, the Street Stock feature winner in Jamestown. Tucker Peterson, Street Stock winner, Devil's Lake at the Devil's Playground. Jeff Nowak making the long trip all the way from Wisconsin to Miller. He got it done in the Street Stock. Nate Grell, he got it done in the Super Stocks. No Trevor Anderson, couple Zulli engines up front. Trevor had some really bad luck. He won at Brown County. And Justin Vogel, Steffes Street Stock wins at Monty, KRA. He inherited the win at KRA. Braden Brower won the feature, but DQ'd on deck height. I heard multiple different stories there. I did deck height and Street Stock. I've heard multiple different stories, but needless to say, Vogel won, and Justin Vogel basically has the Steffes Street Stock Tour locked up. Couple races to go this weekend, but with all the throwaway shows, I think he's got it pretty much handled. So the Wolverine running good. Zulli Race Engines under the hood.
All right, awesome. All right, we want to start with Roy Miller.
Yeah, so you remember Jason Miller, right?
Absolutely.
The 12M. I raced so many laps against him in a super stock and in a modified. In fact, Jason built my last super stock. It was a Matrix chassis RJR by Jason Miller. And so I've known him for a long time, kind of lost touch, hasn't been around. But his dad, Roy, who raced years ago, was always at the races with them. He lost his battle with cancer here about a week ago. Thoughts and prayers to all the friends and family of Roy Miller, Jason Miller Racing in the 12M.
All right, I'll take the next one. Donnie Schatz, a couple of news items. A couple of weeks ago, we missed it on last week's show. They released a documentary on YouTube simply called 15. So check it out there on YouTube. It's pretty good. I've seen it. Looks like they put it together knowing that his father, Danny, this was getting to kind of be the end. So a lot of the focus, and they kept coming back to dad and the family and kind of how Donnie got it started. He had the family ride, obviously, until he hooked up with Tony Stewart and Tony Stewart Racing. So a very cool documentary put together there. And also, you may have seen it all over social media already, but Donnie's next race will be his 2000th career NOS Energy World of Outlaws Sprint Car Start. Of course, he will join Elite Company, the two drivers that Steve Kinzer and Sammy Swindell. So be watching for that upcoming here. Ryan, you had kind of just in our chat, are his days numbered? You have a comment on that?
I got him on Snapchat, right? I see all these snaps he's got with his dog, and it's like he's not focused. Donnie Schatz is one of the best drivers to ever strap into a World of Outlaws sprint car, without question. But at some point, after winning all those championships, right, your level of hunger is just changes, right? And you look at some of them young guns, right? Does it seem like he's maybe not quite as hungry, maybe not as focused? I mean, he ran good. He had a shot to win the last one over at Williams Grove. But, I mean, if he doesn't start winning races, is there a time where his days are numbered and Tony Stewart Racing is going to look for a young gun that's going to come in and win a lot more races?
Well, one thing, I mean, maybe the hunger is still there, but he's older and, let's say, wiser, and he doesn't necessarily put the car in situations that he would have put it in when he was younger. And sometimes those situations you come out and win. Sometimes those situations you wind up flipping down the backstretch. And, so I think as a driver gets older, they don't want to be in those situations where it could get really bad.
Yeah,
but they still have the hunger.
I mean, he was running the top 5. I think he finished in the top 5 at the Kings Royal. Like some content. So lately he's been a little bit better, but boy, he was pretty silent in all of June. I said it back in May that he's already out of the points deal. Cedar Lake, wasn't he up there for one night? I mean, it seems like he's around there, but he's not leading laps. But he, all of a sudden you start hearing his name. Tony Stewart Racing, that's an interesting question. Tony wants to win. He's kind of got the ego to win, but I think he respects him too much. I mean, how do you, it's like nobody went around the ice and gooned Wayne Gretzky. I mean, you just couldn't, so there's a respect level. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Right. It'd be tough to fire Donnie Schatz. And I think he's still appealing to sponsors, which is huge. But yeah, that's an interesting question. We should come back to this question in the off season and kind of revisit it. And obviously watch how things lay out here the rest of the season, but and see kind of what some scenarios could be down the road. All right, Bert, you're up next. Johnny the Hitman, or Hitman Johnny.
Johnny Whitman. His nickname is the Hitman. But we talked about this a couple weeks ago. He won the Clash at the Creek 10,000 win modified show mid-June. Then several weeks later, the win was taken away from him because his tires allegedly failed tire testing, and really haven't heard much about Johnny. But his lawyer, Johnny posted a statement that his lawyer wrote on Facebook, and I have the statement. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I highlighted a few portions of it. Once the video is posted, maybe I'll post an image of the statement so everybody can read the entire statement. But some things that I found interesting from the statement were the lawyer states that they've been given very little answers, and that to this day, Johnny has yet to see the lab results, data, documentation, or any other information regarding the so-called tire test. The tire test was supposedly done at a testing facility based out of North Carolina, which has many false positives in the last 6 months and beyond. Additionally, it is Johnny's understanding that this testing facility is under major scrutiny with many major sanctioning bodies across the country presently. And then in the next paragraph, I find it interesting too, in this statement, they never mention IMCA. They mention the sanctioning body, but it's IMCA. And but it says that the sanctioning body, which is IMCA, does not have any appeal process nor a board or a panel for discussion on their rulings, as well as no procedure or protocol on testing. The sanctioning body's rulings are final and not to be challenged by a licensed member. And next paragraph, Johnny maintains that he's innocent. He's paid his fine and he's served his suspension, and he can race IMC events now. But we've ripped on Wissota a lot on this show for some decisions that they make. I mean, if this is accurate, an organization as big as IMCA, if you DQ a driver in a 10,000 to win race and you don't even let the driver see the lab results, I mean, that, and then not to have an appeal process, that just doesn't seem right to me.
Brett Root Donkey Award. If you're friends with him on Facebook, make sure he got a donkey award, because that is absolutely bullshit. Right? They must be talking about Blue Ridge Labs, because they've had a lot of problems. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he was legal, illegal. I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Right. I mean, they got to get him that data for sure,
Right. I mean, to not be able to see the lab results and, to lose $10,000, I just don't agree with that. And then not to have no appeal process. You just have to go with what IMCA says.
Puka, your boy Nesbitt would have burnt down the whole building of that IMCA if something like that happened.
Probably. All right. Speaking of down south, Josh Rice.
Yeah, I tell you what. So we're only about a week or so away, right? Because right after the USA Nationals, they got the XR Super Series at the Gondak Law Speedway, and then the North-South 100, 75,000 to win. They had a 5,000 to win race at Florence this past weekend. Just a little bit of a teaser. Josh Rice parking in Victory Lane from 21st.
Holy.
Started 21st, right? I mean, he's like, well, we just got the locals here. I don't know if he broke in the heat or if they challenged him. I don't really know. I wouldn't think he wanted to start 21st, but I'm telling you what, man, he's got to be licking his chops right now. I mean, the smart money on Josh Rice. Can somebody come in and beat him? Could he get the biggest payday of his career in late models? We'll find out in a couple of weeks. And the last time I was talking to Jeff about this, we were talking some of the Lucas guys, right? They might not come, I don't know if they are or not going to come to the XR events in Superior. They might just head down to Florence. Well, maybe they're looking at it going, we might as well just go to Superior and try to make money because we sure the hell ain't going to go to Florence and win, right? So they might as well go to Superior and focus on that. So I don't know. I mean, Josh Rice is unbelievable at Florence. That one will be worth watching for sure.
Another big event coming up, one of the biggest in all of Azota country that we forget about and always just shows up. The Little Dream Race, Rice Lake Speedway next week.
Next Tuesday, and again, our shows usually don't come out online till Wednesday. So if we wanted to kind of precursor this is an event you got to watch. It's on Dirt Race Central. You'll be able to catch all the action. And over 20,000. I don't know exactly, I have the number in front of me. But street stocks, right? The winner got over 20,000 the last couple of years in a row. Over and under, will it exceed 30,000 this year? Over and under.
Recession under.
That's what I was kind of thinking, but I think it'll go over just because people like to see how high it can go. So I'll say over.
Challenge that right there. I mean, let's break records. Let's get that over $30,000. That would be outstanding. I think Nick Trainer did Timmy Johnson win that last year? Nick Trainer won it the year before, I think.
I think Timmy did.
Yeah, I think Timmy got that.
It was kind of a record rodeo.
Oh,
Parker
it was a
up
battle.
there. I remember watching it. Parker was up there, and there was a local up there, put half his body back on in the infield. Remember that?
Jimmy Randall used Parker Anderson as a wrecking ball. Parker Anderson sounds like he's going to be in his old car. Scott Benz bought it. He's going to get back in it. Parker Anderson going to be at that event. I'm telling you what, they will destroy each other for 300 to win. 20,000 to win, I'll run over all y'all for 20,000 to win. I'm just telling you, that's just the way it is. So we're excited for that one. That's coming up a week from Tuesday.
Yeah, and then of course USA Nationals. We'll do a big thing. That's coming up too. We'll do a little bit of preview into that next week. And Bert and I are set to be there. Ryan, you're maybe.
It depends where I'm at. Well, the jury's still out.
Yeah. All right, you want to go over the current standings for a pick?
Of course.
I don't have it in front of me, but
okay.
Do.
Okay. Well, I got up on the screen. So I guess the big news: Bert pulls ahead of Puka at 102 points. Puka at 101. So the flat bill had to come back for some good luck. You guys haven't seen it in a couple months, so expect a big week. Look at Ryan's over there bending. I had to flatten this one back out. Someone came by me one day and crinkled it a little. So
we should put Bert on the who's hot list is what we should do, because he came on. He was fourth a couple weeks ago. Now he's first. So
I was just saving my tires, and now it's time to step up.
Yeah, 20 to go. So
it's like the Fast and the Furious. Too soon, Bert. Too soon.
So we're picking 6 events, including tonight. The Hawkeye 50 is going on right now as we're recording. Davenport, Prairie Classic. So Weed Sport is where the Outlaw Sprint Cars are out in New York. All right. So final little section here. What are we most looking forward to this weekend?
Well, nationally, obviously you got to be looking forward to the Falls event, and Bishop getting the victory there. But but locally, I'm looking forward to Shawano Speedway. Last week's races were rained out, and if you remember, last week was supposed to pay $5,000 to win for the modifieds, $2,500 to win for the stock cars, and they decided to run that this coming Saturday. And this coming Saturday was already the late models were already racing for $2,500 to win. So you have late models racing for $2,500 to win, stock cars racing for $2,500 to win, modifieds racing for $5,000 to win, and it's racing for a reason night. So there will be a lot of bucket raffles going on, raising money to fight childhood cancer. And I'll be donating a custom diecast this year again, like I have for many, many years now. So should be a big night.
Awesome. You want me to go next? All right. What I'm looking most or forward to the most this weekend is my good buddy, old pal, Ryan Aho has a birthday on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to wishing Ryan Aho a happy birthday. So now everybody knows what to do on Sunday. Leave a message for Ryan singing your best happy birthday tune. Happy birthday, buddy. Of course, a Prairie Dirt Classic. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah. One more trip around the sun, right? There you go. So,
How about you, buddy?
Prairie Dirt Classic. I mean, that race, I just love watching races at Fairbury. That one right there. I'll be honest, I'm a Brandon Shepherd fan. He's so humble. He's a good racer. I'd love to see him win that race, but he's not gonna, right? Because Bobby Pearson's gonna. It just is what it is. The other thing I'm looking forward to, Fast Lane Super Stock Series action, Red Cedar Speedway on Thursday, the Gondiclaw Speedway in Superior on Friday, ABC Raceway in Ashland on Saturday, Halberline Speedway in Proctor on Sunday. A tip of the cap, fan of the show, Dennis McCauley, the best promoter in all of the series. The car counts have been great. He reaches out to the drivers. He does his job at making sure there's a full field of cars there. The super stock racing has been excellent, and it'll be interesting because there ain't a lot of people that are former champions running that series. So it'll be really interesting. Darrell Nelson, who won in Rapids, was running in a podium position at Granite City, blew up with 2 to go. Tough break. I hope he has another engine. He was leading the points. He was looking so good in that 25. Hopefully he can rebound from that. But those are the things I'm looking forward to the most.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Ryan, did you ever race at Anigo, Langley County Speedway?
I never raced at any of those Eastern Wisconsin tracks.
Okay. I just want to mention Langley County Speedway and Anigo, they will be having their one race of the year this coming weekend. I think it's Friday night. It's always been on Friday night. Anigo used to hold weekly racing back in the 90s and the early 2000s, and now they run one time a year during the fair, and the IRA sprint cars will be there with some support classes.
Okay. I got one thing to add. You kind of give me some grief because I haven't mentioned it yet, but I got a lot of windshield time and get to listen to stuff. Buddy Jeff Krause got the One to Go Show sticker on the side. Him and Dan over at the Viking Speedway, they have their own weekly podcast, kind of talks about the Viking Speedway, but they talk about some other stuff. So jump on the Viking Speedway or Jeff Krause on Facebook. You can find it. Sorry, Jeff, I forgot the name of it. I should know that, but it's actually been pretty fun to listen to. So check out Coach Krause.
Yeah, it's probably Club to or Star, 29 Star or Club 29 or what? Maybe something like that.
No, it's a Viking Speedway deal, so it's not that.
All right, so we're ready to wrap. Find the 3 of us on Facebook, at Bert Lehman, at Ryan Aho, at Racer Puka. Please subscribe to the show, share the show. Of course, we have merchant swag. Just track us down or track me down. We'll figure out a way to get it to you. As always, we'd like to thank our great partners, Dirt Track Supply, Brad Parsons Soil and Egg Solutions, Jay Schmidt Real Estate, Zuli's Race Engines, BuyRaceShirts.com, Impact Health Sharing, Blue Line Brews, Mason Aaron's Videos, the One to Go Show at gmail.com. If you'd like to send us a private message, of course, hit us up, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Rumble, Spotify, and YouTube. For Bert Lehman, for Ryan Ayo, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the One to Go show.